For the most part, they're pretty smooth. If you go nice and slow with the drill press, you're going to get a nice smooth finish. Some of them have a little bit of a burr, as you can see in some of those. Now, I could go ahead and pick those off or file them down. I don't think it's going to matter. I think the pixel is going to stick through there just fine. That's not really a risk of someone getting hurt or cut other than me installing them, so no one's going to be up there playing by the roof. This is what it looks like from the back side. And yeah, this works pretty well. I'm going to go ahead and show you the jig that I made to do these. I have this drill press, 8-inch drill press that I got from Harbor Freight. Probably any 8-inch drill press or larger would work. I have it bolted to this little card table with this big wide clamp that I also got from Harbor Freight. Otherwise, this would kind of topple over. So my opening here, right at the bottom, is about 0.8 inches. And this is 0.72. So that is not quite as wide, but it's nice having a little bit of wiggle room. And if we were to look down at this board that I'm using, it's not perfectly straight. So having a little bit of wiggle room allows me to move this around, and it works great. This is a piece of wood, some pine that I have cut some grooves in so it won't warp. This is what I had left over from doing my some board and batten in the house. You can see I have a little bit extra of that striped looking wood over there. And yeah, so this is what it looks like looking down there. And I'm going to go ahead and show you what else I did. I thought about starting with a 2x4 and really trimming it down to the exact size. And then I was like, you know what, this is probably going to work just as well or better. And what I have here is I did cut a notch out right there. And I have this bolted underneath down here to the table there. And let me show you what that looks like real quick. I've just got it bolted under there with some washers, as you can see. Let me try to focus. Yeah, where it goes. Right there. Bolted underneath, and it's fairly solid. I'm not trying to move it around. And I did drill a hole all the way through. You can see some of the metal is pushed down. I can just take this if it starts getting full, push that down even more. It kind of falls out the bottom. So I'll just compact that through there. I've done half of these so far, and I haven't really had any problems. You can see I do have quite a few metal shavings. Now what I have here is a 1/2-inch dowel that I've filed down to fit in this hole. Now I knew that I wasn't going to have a ton of clearance. This is as high as this goes, the drill bit's all the way in, and this table is as low as it goes. And this trim is roughly 2.27, 2.25 inches. And this was so tall that it was not going to allow me to have any clearance, because I've got to lift this up while I leave this running, lift the trim up, and slide it over to the next hole. So yeah, this was 3.5 inches, so I cut out a little bit there so that would fit. And this 1/2 inch is too big. This is a 15/32 inch drill bit. That's very close to 12 millimeters, which is what the lights are that are supposed to be able to push right into those holes. And yeah, I think that's everything as far as how I put that together. I'm going to go ahead and show you how it works. All right, I'm going to go ahead and slide this piece on. Compress that some. I maybe should clean out that track, or that hole there. So yeah, the first one I'm just going to go ahead and come in about 1.5 inches or so. Because these first holes are going to overlap on the track to get them nice and lined up. Just going to stick the pixel through both of them. At least that's the plan. If I can, then I'll trim those as needed. Now I'm holding, this is an 8-foot board, 10-foot sticks. I'm holding this one side over here so that it doesn't go too far off balance. Traditionally, you would bolt this drill press down, but these are such long sticks, I didn't have a table I could just move out here. My workbench is up against the wall over there. Just easy does it. If you go too fast, it might get hung up. That got hung up, as you can tell. There's the last one. I'm just cleaning out my hole here, pushing some of these out. They've become magnetized. Just these little individual pieces, that's what is coming off of each one of these. As you can see, these little donut shaped looking things. Just pushing some through. And what a royal mess this left me with. I'm going to grab my shop vac and clean all that up. Especially the kids like to walk through here without shoes and tell them over and over not to. Hopefully I'll get this all cleaned up well enough. You can see how I have these attached to the base. I couldn't find my stubby Phillips screwdriver. I'm not sure where it's at, so I'm using this right angle extension for my drill. And I'll show you how I reach up in there with that. Take that out. Kind of a pain to hold it in place, but it does work well. And then obviously reverse installation is opposite of what I just showed you. So you can see I slid that around a little bit, got it just right, and yeah, it worked out great. All right, I got all the little plates cleaned out, and you can see from my little wooden dowel, I did not glue that in, just shoved it in, drilled a 1/2-inch hole, it's a 1/2-inch dowel, just hammered it in a little bit and then filed down the top. You can see the 2 holes because the distance between the middle of this one to here was 4 inches, and that was just too wide. I could get the pixels through there, but then they were pointing out away from each other. This 3.5 inches is probably about as wide as we want to go. I could have done 2 or even 3 inches, or you could really do anything. It's just more pixels, more power injection, more cost. I wanted to stretch these out as far as I could because I ordered 5 strands of pixels. I may end up needing 6, but with this spacing, it will hopefully work. Now, you can also get this J channel from the hardware store, this vinyl stuff. The problem was, so here's some metal scraps. I've been playing with some rivets and how I was going to do my corners, but I don't know if you can't tell that great, but the vinyl is a slightly different color, and give it 5 or so years, this vinyl is going to start turning yellow. I just really didn't want that because I do want these to be a permanent installation. And since I'm going to be doing this on the front, I didn't want all those visible, just the white-headed screws that I'm going to screw through there. So I'm just going to return those. The other ones were, metal. I had to go to a metal store for that, or roofing supply store. They do not have the ones that I've been using and showing. These ones are also a little bit bigger than the vinyl ones. They do not have these at the hardware store, at least here in Utah. So I had to go to a store and get those, metal store.